This Pretend Farmer Girl coming to you in my pajamas, because isn't everyone in their pajamas right now? But the reason I'm going to do this video is because there's a lot of people that can't find yeast at the store, and so I'm getting a lot of questions about sourdough. Now, sourdough and I have had a very love-hate relationship. Most of it was hate. In fact, it was so bad that I even named my sourdough starter a bad name, but I'm not going to say what that is, but I'm ashamed of it. But anyway, I started again in November and I watched hundreds of videos. So since now is the time that people are wanting to actually make stuff with sourdough without having to go through the learning curve. I mean, I made the nicest looking hockey pucks that if I threw it, it would literally take out a window and maybe the wall next to it. It was so bad, and I was so mad because I'm not used to failing with bread. So anyway, I want to give you all of my basic information right now on the starter, and then I'm going to be making some more videos where I'm actually making the bread and all the other recipes that I have here on these cards. But I also have notes so that I don't forget what I'm going to say. The reason I was doing sourdough is for the gluten issues. It became apparent that I might be having some gluten issues, and so I do 100% sourdough, no added yeast, nothing. It's 4 ingredients. It's water, flour, sourdough starter, and yeast. And that is because I want the full effect. I go through the whole process. To make a loaf of bread, it can be a 24 to 48 hour process. Not that you're doing stuff with that the whole time. But basically, I want to show you what I do. It's super easy after you figure it out. I've watched hundreds of videos. There's so many different ways to do out there, but here's the bottom line. If your starter is not ready, it doesn't matter your technique, it doesn't matter what flour you're using, what your temperature is. If your starter's not ready, don't make anything. You might as well just dump your flour into the trash. Although I made stuff out of it and gained 30 pounds or something like that, because I wasn't going to throw it away. But anyway, I have 3 different things here. This is what I kind of work with. It's sourdough starter, but it's not fed. Here's some more sourdough starter that's not fed. And then here is some sourdough starter that I fed last night. I want to show you the only way that I check my sourdough. I don't care if it doubles. They say, oh, put a rubber band. See, my rubber band is here. And they say if it doubles, it's ready. But for me, that just didn't work. So the only way I test my sourdough starter is with the float test. So here is some starter. And I don't know if you can see, it's kind of stringy. So you just take some starter. You add it to the water, and hopefully this floats. Otherwise, I have to start my video over again. Okay, this is sourdough starter that's fed and ready to go. You see how it's floating. Now here is the other one that has not been fed, and it just looks more like water and flour, which really that's what it is. And I use these for things that don't need to be fed. So here is what it looks like when it's not fed. It just drops right to the bottom. And here's another one that it kind of looks bubbly. I don't know if you can see it in there, but I still don't think that it is going to, I think it's going to drop because it's been a couple days since I've actually fed this one. So here we go. Yep, that one drops too. So what I want you to know is when I watched videos, it said, oh, you know, mix it up and let it sit on your counter for 4 hours and your starter should be ready. And that's what I did, and my starter wasn't ready. So before you make sourdough, do the float test. And when it floats, you're good to go. I want to encourage you to not give up. Don't add yeast to it. Don't get into, well, it's not rising, so I need to use yeast. I worked for like 3.5 years on my starter. On my sourdough. I gave up for about 2 years, and just November I started again, and it's working. Let's see. I showed you the float test, and the other thing I want to show you is you can be very specific with your measurements. I will make bread, and for the bread I have to use 150 grams of starter. So what you would really do is you would just take like a tablespoon of the starter, put it in a bowl, and then add 100 grams of flour and 100 grams of water, and I'll take you through this on another video. Mix it all up, let it sit till it passes the float test, and then you just use that, which it's a little bit more than this, but this is basically all I would use to make bread, to make the bread. However, I make a lot of different things. I make crackers, I've been making pretzels and bagels and waffles and all kinds of stuff, and that's what you use the discard for. So when I'm making crackers, you have to have a cup of discard, and so I'm gonna make like 4 batches, so I'll have like 4 cups of discard, and I'll make the crackers for you and show you what you do also. But let me see, I make bagels. Tortillas are also something that you can make with the discard, really fun to make and really good. Focaccia is something you make with discard. English muffins, the soft pretzels, waffles. I also have a recipe for crock pot sourdough bread so that you can just put it right in your crock pot, and then the crackers. So all of this is not going to waste. I'm going to be using it all. What's another thing I want to tell you? So I gave you the example is you can either be very specific in what you're doing, or you just take the starter and pour flour and water in there and get a bunch, and whatever you don't use, then you can use to make these other things that don't require a stiff. But don't give up. Don't give up. I'm going to try to make these recipes so easy so that all you have to do is just follow what I'm saying, and then it's done. Here's some bagels that I made today. 100% sourdough. Really yummy. Let me see, what else did I want to tell you? Let's see, I make also make cinnamon rolls, and you can make donut holes. It's really good. So basically, what I want you to do is get your starter from somebody. If you don't have a starter, contact me. Maybe I can work something out to send you some. But you just take the starter, you add water and flour so that it's like a thick pancake batter, and let it sit. It's going to double, but you want to do the float test, and then you go from there. So this is just a start. I'm going to also start on the next videos of making all these different things so you can see how it's done. The first thing I'm going to do is the bread, so you can start making bread right away. So that's all I have for this one. Don't give up. Use your starter. 25 grams of starter, 100 grams of water, 100 grams of flour. Mix it all up. If it needs a little bit more flour, add more flour so it's like pancake dough, and let it sit. And then hopefully in a couple days I'll have the video up with the bread. Anyway, hope you're well. This is Pretend Farmer Girl signing out. Okay, I want to clarify a few things after I did the video. The only reason why I have 2 separate things like this is because I'm making so much of it. I'll pull some from this, I'll pull some discarded stuff from this, and I'll add it to here, and then I will add the water and the flour because I want a lot of active starter, because I'm going to be making a lot of bread or a lot of cinnamon rolls or whatever. So this could easily be just combined in the same bowl. I just had the 2 because I'm currently working out of both of them. So let's say I just need this much starter. Wait, stop.